Let's see how to replace the belt and also the handwheel if you need. The machine, it's a white from the 70s. So for the rear cover we have 1, 2 and 3 bolts. Each are different lengths. And this one is the shortest, this one is the longest, underneath there is the middle one. Once you remove them, it's flat screwdriver head. Don't over tighten them, drop it here somehow, and that's how you put it back in place. You place it first here inside, and eventually you'll find the way to it. It's tight, but it works. Just notice, drop it here. Just careful so you don't chip the paint. The motor has this plate, and these are the adjustment bolts for the belt tension. My feeling for the belt tension is with a gentle push, I want it to move about this much. But then again, just run the machine and maybe you want to tighten to move this plate, so the plate does move. Let's see how to get your light here. Does move up and down, right like this, and this is what's tensioning and untensioning the belt. Obviously my two screws here right now are loosened up because I don't want to film that. So again, tension, move the plate to a position, tighten them when you put the new belt, and then just run the machine. What you want to do is no slippage, so it doesn't slip. And that's about the maximum tension. Don't over tension it, because you are going to put wear on the motor bearing, bushings, and also on the belt. You don't need to have it really tight. Now these two screws are also Phillips head, I mean flat screwdriver. Now the cut here, the notch, it's larger, and if you perhaps see, not sure you can tell, it was so tight in there, I almost could not release them. It doesn't have to be this tight, it's just because it's old and stuck. But when you tighten them down just enough so you don't lose belt tension. But when you are going to release them, if you use a screwdriver, make sure you get a thick tip here that really matches fully, feels the notch in there. Don't get a screwdriver like this one that it's loose. You are not going to release them for sure. And also notice you are going to bend the metal and then round it, and it's stuck forever. My advice would be to use a ratchet. You can take a 3/8 size ratchet and you have the socket with the flat screwdriver tip. That is your best friend. Maybe you can get a 3/8 size ratchet or maybe 1/4 ratchet. Get ones from the stores. Stanley are good, and the cheapest that are decent quality. Don't get cheaper than that. Because these two, I'm telling you, even with a big screwdriver, I think there are chances several people won't be able to release them, unfortunately. But when you put them back in place, don't go crazy, just tighten them enough. Don't think it has to be welded in there. Okay, enough with this. Once you release them, you need to just push the motor a little bit. You are going to have a few cables, just careful with them. And if you move this plate all the way out, I suggest also maybe take a picture. Put your camera right in front here before releasing the screws. Take a picture to notice the gap in there. That will help you put the same tension back in place for the new belt. So if you move it all the way up, just feel it when it stops, then you should be able to just slip the belt a little bit off the pulley, just a little bit. You can force a little bit on the belt, but not too much, and just pops from there. And the same goes the new one. I suggest you just make sure you lift this plate with the motor all the way up, engage it a little bit, and just rotate that pulley, and it should slide back in place. Let's try to remove it again. And by the way, I could not find the replacement belt on eBay, AliExpress, maybe from specialty shops. I did notice this is about the size of it, 32 centimeters long, and I would say about 3 millimeters wide. You will find replacement belts that are 5 millimeters wide. That's too much. 3, it's good. Perhaps even 2. Okay, let's just remove it from the top without first removing the handle. I'll show the handle in a moment. There should be enough space in there, and my suggestion is when you remove it all around, and the last remove it near the tire. And when you place the new belt in place it first by the tire and then go all around. So the tire is always last and first. And make sure obviously the tire is disengaged all the way. Just pull on this one, just make sure the tire is really up. You can actually, did you know it? You can even push it some more, has a spring. So you just go around. There should be enough space. I didn't even remove the top cover. There should be just enough space, as you can tell. And then maybe, just like I was showing in a moment, I think let's try it again. Yeah, you can push the tire away. It should come out like this. Okay, same goes the new one. If you want to remove the handwell, because there is a trick inside, this screw is flat screwdriver, but this time it's very thin, very small. That's why I have a very thin tip here to match that head. Otherwise a thicker screwdriver will not function. Again, don't over tighten this guy here. Careful not to drop it, not to lose it. And this lock, whatever you call it, should be coming. Okay, it's unscrewing, and you will have a ring inside. Be ready to catch it. I like that it's really stainless steel. It's like a mirror. It's incredible. And these screws too are pure stainless steel. You no longer find this in a modern sewing machine. Oops, there you have it. So this screws in there, so you notice the thread. Now I did unscrew it, and this screw here, it's locking it in place. When you put back that screw, don't worry about the rotation or the position. Just tighten it down normally. Whoops, it's heavy. It's really heavy. Just tighten it down normally and just put the screw where it happens to be, at the angle where it happens to be. Don't worry about that. However, what you should worry is about this piece. This is the guy that dropped from there. If you look from the sides, you notice that these two, whatever you call them, bombs, are actually sitting in front. So this is the correct position. This is the wrong position with those two guys in rear. I'm not sure if you can notice them. It's kind of protruding. So this is wrong and this is right. Again, notice the bumps coming out are not flat with the rest of the rings. So that's the correct position. And these guys will just match these two notches. So there are two bumps. You will put them like this. Let's try with one hand. I don't have many fingers on one hand. It has to match those two notches up and down. And again, the bump comes towards you, not the other way. You need to put it like this, and then you need to screw that little guy in place. Notice there's like three other, whatever you call them. It doesn't matter if it can go up or down. I think it doesn't matter. I haven't tried all the possibilities, but I don't think it's a problem. As long as these two guys are engaged. Now, when you are going to try to screw that piece in, obviously this piece is going to just keep dropping from there. So maybe what you want to do is just put the machine tilted and maybe have another person helping you, because this machine, I was saying in another video, it's about as light as a building elevator. So it's crazy, insanely heavy. Actually, it's one of the heaviest machines, very close to the heavier Singer old ones, all cast iron. So it's insane. It's about 40 pounds, 37 pounds. Okay, so this is how it goes, and you perhaps need to tilt it to get this guy to stay in place. I don't have another solution. Sometimes you can just let it in there, bring the other piece, but as soon as you are going to put it in there, this guy is going to drop. What you can do, just try to use my other hand at this point. What you can do is get this guy, just start screwing it in. The ring will fall, obviously. try to do it. Or maybe you just can actually put the ring over it. Make sure you put it the right way, not the wrong way. Just screw it in, and when you are almost screwed all the way in, then just try to kind of go underneath and recenter that piece. And well, this will perhaps save you not you can actually even wiggle this guy. Let's try it again. So can you, okay, now the piece did drop. Let's try to, at some point you are screwing it in and it stops because that ring is not fully seated. You just try to wiggle it. I'm not moving the hand well at this point. Okay, if you wiggle it a few times, that piece will sit and you will feel it's advancing some more and screwing some more. And you should look from the side to see when this piece is touching the plastic of the handwell. That's where you know it's fully seated. So just tighten it like this. You don't have to tighten it more, just until it stops, and then put that screw and screw it in. And that's all. I just discovered this as I filmed. Let's remove the handwell. Actually, yes, it always falls from there. Let's remove the handwell. Maybe you want to wiggle it a little bit. There's nothing else in there, and the handwell basically just rotates freely. Well, this is what you get in there. There's nothing really to write home about, but what I do suggest is get a droplet of saving oil, just place it inside, because when you are doing free well, when you are winding up the bobbin, this has to spin around that shaft. So a little bit of oil in there, not too much, just a drop, is going to just help it, just make it rotate smoother. And at this point here, you can see a bit of the intestines of this machine. So obviously, if you remove the motor, you can see more things, but you see there is plastic gears. Actually, there's 2 of them. And there is a wear mechanism inside that may need a bit of grease, lubrication, and so on. But also you notice the many springs on the bobbing mechanism. There's like 3 of them, if I did count correctly. It's very complex around this area. And I don't know, overall it's interesting to see what's about inside. I will just point you that these 2 screws, actually it's 2 nuts, I believe it's 8 millimeters, not really very accurate about my memory. These 2 also secure the motor on the metal plate, so the motor is secured with these 2 nuts on the plate, and then the plate itself is secured on the machine chassis with the 2 big screws. These 2 also have some slight adjustment. If you can tell, there is, perhaps you can see there is a gap in there because there is actually a slot in the plate. You can move a bit the motor sideways. It's not really important. There's just a small adjustment, but sometimes, depends on the belt that you get, you may take advantage of these extra additional adjustments to maybe toss the motor towards that side. This was factory for me, toss the motor and maybe get more tension on the belt. But normally you should get all the tension you need here. However, notice that the body of the motor, the case of the motor is really close to the chassis of the machine, so there is not a lot of movement available in there. So just pointing out about these 2 screws. Okay. Okay, so don't worry about these things. These go for the ring, the 2 notches, inner notches of the that small ring. These 2 notches, the flywheel just goes in there and spins freely.